What it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nixie coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. Highly requested, highly demanded, how to full mix breakdown trap vocals, modern Latin trap vocals. If you guys like this tutorial, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. Check the links down below in the description. Okay, so let's get to it right now. Regardless if you get anything from the channel, I don't care. I give the gems out consistently, and today I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna give y'all the full mix breakdown of this song I did for a dope artist named WizKid. So let's get right to it right now. We're gonna hear the song first and then go over everything. All right, let's go.
Hacemos pa' coronar, pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar. Dios manténme cerca de todos mis contrarios. Hacemos pa' coronar, pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. Los filias te gramos, rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pecó pa' ella donde estamos. El Dios lo mientras solo por más que Dios llamo. Nacimos a herir villanos, siempre anda brillamos. Está despillo que yo no disparo, pero tengo par de gente con el dedo en el gatillo. En la calle grillo y así es sencillo. Es que se meten en el medio los martillos. Te presto mis cojones, si los tuyos no te los ponen. No gasto honrones, pero ustedes los bateo con cojones. En nombre de los muertos prendiendo unos blones. Llevamos tiempo en esto y ahora estamos como se supone. Muchos en la buena, pocos en la mala, esperando que disparen a ver si me dan la bala. Si te envidia pa' que te comparas, tú sabes que no es liga, tu liga cabe en mi sala. Hacemos pa' coronar, pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar. Dios manténme cerca de todos mis contrarios. Hacemos pa' coronar, pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar. Somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. No he generado que aguante esta corriente. Tampoco hay sentido en competir con un incompetente. Reciben atención solo si estoy ausente. Díganle a su baby que no llamen, que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado y ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Enrolando Philly con el hash, Diamante pidió my watch, Después que tenga todo que remash. Mi signo es escorpión pero me tatué del cash. Si soy caro imagínate cuando me he visto. Mi flow es otra vibra, no sé si me has visto. Me siento como un dios y no soy Cristo. Las putas en gistro, lo más cabrón que ojos humanos han visto. Nacimos pa' coronar, pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar. Dios manténme cerca de todos mis contrarios. Nacimos pa' coronar, pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario.
Really dope. So these vocals remind me of Eladio, Carrión. It reminds me of Anuel. It reminds me of Bad Bunny. You feel me? Type of situation. But all of this stuff is still rap music, all right? So most important thing, very first thing is the beat. You feel me? How did we go along processing the beat? The way the tracks had kind of come to me, it was a situation where I kind of already had like the wet stems. You feel me? Like a little bit. Like there was a little bit of pre-marination, honey, lemon pepper on the vocals prior to it even coming to me. As you see, the waveform was kind of like, you know, so that's something to always be wary of. You feel me? You know, I don't know if it was whatever compression or how many compression, but I used my ears to know there was a little bit of light. So the 2-track beat, all right, I feel like it was not kicking enough. I put Spectre on that beat. You know, the beat already has like drops and cuts and stuff like that in it, so obviously it was tampered with, right? So I feel like it lost a little bit of knock, so I brought that knock back in with something like the Spectre. All right, After that, we used the JC Joshua God particle. Oh my God. It took me a whole year to use this shit because of all how much hype it is was behind it. But now I am using it. I love this plugin. And I only use it as an analog saturator. That's the only thing I use it for. I don't use it for like compression. I just use it for the saturation. I really love how it sounds. It adds like this, adds a nice bit of stereo imaging too. So I'm also considerate of that. I did want stereo spreading on that 2-track beat because of my imagery of how I imagine the landscape of the song, right? I imagine it as in like a cavern, a dark night, like the Grand Valley type, like a Grand Hall, you feel me? Big churches type of situations, what I was thinking. So when I'm mixing a record as an engineer, I'm always creating like an image in my head and I'm trying to follow that image, right? So when you hear the song, you think of like something really big, like his voice sounds really big and epic, almost like, you feel me? Like almost like larger than life, right? So yeah, we use the JC Joshua God particle to stereo spread and add some weight to the beat. After that, we use the Ozone to stereo spread just a tad bit more, especially in the high end, you know, because I'm trying to like recreate the beat right now. I'm spreading the peanut butter on the bread, so I don't know if I want it to be on the top part of the bread or the bottom half. Woman. And then at that point, we use the Fairchild 670 as well, my little trick right here to widen up the beat as well. All right, so that was me kind of demonstrating to you what that trick does. So, you know, you pull down a little bit, you push up a little bit, and that widens the beat. That I don't even gonna lie, that shit makes a huge difference on the beat, bro, to widen it. And it's like a natural stereo widener, no phase or nothing like that. So let's look at the lead vocal, and we're gonna bypass everything and you know, kind of just run through this. There's a lot of stuff to talk about today, so I'm gonna go over this really briefly and actually give the real gems that will actually help you. You feel me? So yeah, very first thing is me already understanding that, hey, yo, you know, like, this vocal is slightly wet. It is slightly wet. So that's I feel like a Japanese a chef, you know, when they're working on a puffer fish, like when they're eating a puffer fish in Japan, they don't eat the whole puffer fish. It's like certain way you got to cut it and stuff like that, or it's like poisonous as fuck. So I only poked a couple of holes inside of the vocal, kind of treating it like a delicacy, kind of like how, you know, motherfuckers treat a puffer fish. Feel me? So yeah. All right, after that, I used the REQ, and you know, as I'm doing this, you know, there was like a situation where I'm going back and forth between how I want to set the low end of my vocal. I'm doing my filter, and I'm playing around with the volume fader between both of those things. I'm trying to choose how forward my vocal is going to be, because when you make a vocal louder, that in itself, you hearing something louder, your ear perceives it as being more forward. So I like to play with going between my filter and the actual like fader on the DAW to kind of set like how forward I want my vocal to be and everything, if that makes sense. And then I pushed a little bit of the high shelf in a situation like that, adding a little bit of that air. You feel me? Add a little bit of that mosquito type of frequency, a little bit of that bee buzzing, that pollen season frequency up there. You feel me? That super bright type of dandelion frequency. And then after that, we had the DS. All right, after that, we used, of course, my favorite love, which is a C4 pop vocal preset, and I did not adjust it at all. I just used the standard pop vocal preset. So that just kind of helps up clear the mid range up a little bit. And you know, this is like a stagnant low shelf, and this is like a dynamic low shelf. So I go back and forth between these two to contain how much like of that mid range energy I want, especially because his vocal's already so deep. His vocal is like naturally present. You feel me? So it's all about containing that shit and making it presentable. It's like if I had a lion and I try to make a lion as a pet. You feel me? If I train that lion since he's a baby, he might fuck around and just like not be like a wild ass lion. He might be tamed a little bit and controlled, and you feel I might be able to walk him around. You see people playing around with lions and bears. You feel me? So sometimes certain parts in somebody's vocals, like an animal, it's like an uncaged animal, is wild, and you need to control it. Using the SSLE channel strip, and I use this specifically because I want to use the brown knob, and the brown knob kind of has like this saturation, a certain tone to it that is a little bit warm, and also clicking that analog, you feel me, and using a little bit of that VCA circuit.
Los vestuarios, los filetes, gramos, rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pecó pa' allá donde estamos. El diablo me entra solo por más que Dios llamo. Nací morir de villa.
In general, that kind of helps the vocal just sit a little bit better, especially just due to the fact that we're doing a slight adjustments on the low end specifically, and pulling out a little bit of that mid bass and that low shelf again. So you know, usually if you want something to sit a little bit better, that might possibly be a thing with the low end, because the more low end you cut, the farther back the vocal gets pushed. You feel me? So after that, we have the RVOX. So I cut off the low end right here. Now I'm trying to boost it back, but I'm using the RVOX, right? Because the RVOX adds like a little bit of belly fat, a little bit of love handles back onto the vocal.
Los vestuarios, los filetes, gramos, rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pecó pa' allá donde estamos. Se quedan repiten, te quieren ser yo, pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Enrolando Philly con el hash, de
After that, we have the gem dopamine, and this is modeling DBX 180. So this is like a vocal brightener that I'm using right here. You feel me? And I kind of prefer this because it kind of has like a situation where I think about Tabasco hot sauce. I'm thinking about different brands of hot sauces and shit like that. I'm thinking about Cheetos, hot chips and shit, and they all got a different degree of heat to them. And this is like making your vocal brighter, but not that super hot, oof, make you want to cry type of hot sauce. This is like that mild type of hot sauce. You feel me? So that's why I'm using this to make my vocal brighter, but in a very delicate way.
Se quedan repiten, te quieren ser yo, pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Enrolando Philly con el hash, de Montevideo my wash, después que tenga todo que remash, mi signo es copia.
All right, so one more thing that we had right here is like a soothe, and we're barely using it just to like to control the vocal and contain like any little overshoots that might occur. You feel me? So yeah, we're just using that.
Se quedan repiten, te quieren ser yo, pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Enrolando Philly con el hash, de Montevideo my wash, después que tenga.
All right, so after that, at that point, now let's look at what else we had. We had the parallel compression, which was the UAD 175B, which is a Veramute tube compressor. So I'm using this in parallel, and this is like the big brother to the 1176, you feel me? But this has different components. It has tubes, and the 1176 has the FET components. So most important thing about this, I'm using this to generate distortion. Even my red light is turned on that bit, you feel me? Like I'm just really clamping down on this, and I'm also using a L2 on the back end to generate more distortion, you feel me? So I'm mixing that green bell pepper with that red bell pepper, you feel me? These are both generating distortion. That L2 generates distortion, that 175 generates distortion too, you feel me? So that's what I'm mostly using it for, and crushing the vocal.
Se quedan repiten, te quieren ser yo, pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Enrolando Philly con el hash, de Montevideo my wash, después que tenga todo que remash, mi signo es copión, pero me tatuas del cash, si soy caro.
Yeah, so you don't have to necessarily always use the L2 only exclusively on the master fader. Sometimes I might use it on ad-libs to hold my ad-libs and generate distortion there, you feel me? I might use it also on the parallel compressor, you feel me? Some people like to use L1 or like the typical 1176 and L1, but I use the L2, you feel me? Because I just like how it distorts, you feel me? So now after that, we looked at the beat, we looked at the lead vocal. Let's start to look a little bit at our ad-libs. So this is where this shit gets kind of crazy. This is where it gets crazy as fuck. I ain't gonna lie with the ad libs. So, very first thing is I had like this doubled part right here that he had sent to me, and I just pretty much kept it basic. I just wanted like something to subtly emphasize that we're going into the verse. So I used a little bit of Toupe, used the cassette, the lo-fi, and a little bit of Brigade chorus effect.
Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. No he generado que aguante esta corriente, tampoco hay.
Yeah, so something very basic, kind of like a stacked vocal. It was like a stacked vocal that he sent me, and I just wanted to do something really subtle with it. I didn't want it to obviously sound like a stack, you know? So after that, we had another double right here. And this is like a really dope thing where it's like a crescendo. So like he just did he did that over and over again, and I kind of transformed it into kind of like a stepping stool, like an elliptical when you at the gym and shit, and you going up the stepmaster type shit, right? So this is like a really dope type of doubling effect I did where I used the Uber mod. And let's just hear what it sounds like, and I'm gonna bypass everything.
No llamen que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser.
So on purpose, I kind of made it like progressively louder a little bit, type shit like that. And we're using the Uber mod. We're using the Uber mod flanger, and we're blending it back in a little bit. We're doing a little bit of filtering and everything. And let's see what it absolutely sounded like without it though.
No llamen que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser.
It's kind of cool, but I kind of wanted to make it sound like more of a part of the song. Like the way it came like that, it just sounds like a individual wrench. You feel me? It doesn't sound like it's an actual part of the toolkit, you know? So yeah, after that, we used a doubler on the actual track itself, you know? And then we used the Eventide H3000 micro shift. I call it MixLikeNix. Then we use the fresh air to brighten that bitch up, you feel me? And then use the capital chambers to finish it up.
No llamen que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes.
So it's like that doubler is going into the reverb and it's giving it more dimension. Okay, after that we have like a one-shot effect ad-lib right here, which was a situation where damn, bruh, we put in a lot of fucking work on this mix, bruh. Let me see what it sounds. Let's hear what it sounds like first.
Martillo, te presto mis cojones. Si lo tuyo no es martillo, pon el dedo en el gatillo. En la calle grillo y así es sencillo. Es que se meten en el medio los martillos. Te presto mis. Hicimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero no morimos. Hicimos pa' coronar.
Yeah, so most important thing with that was it was like a air chorus, like a stock chorus effect. You feel me? And it just kind of gave it like that late night type of vibe, my Theo. And then I lo-fied it with a little bit of that sketch cassette on that bit. You feel me?
Tío, tío, te presto, te presto, te presto mi.
Yeah, so that was kind of like our next ad lib that we have right there. And most importantly, I think we did like a delay throw with it, and that delay throw included the Valhalla vintage. This is so funny looking back at this mix. Yeah, so kind of like a lo-fi throw. In addition to creating that moment where they're like, it's only the chorus, the flanger, like it kind of sounds like he's on the phone. It reminds me of the Matrix. You feel me? We also kind of did like a delay throw, and we lo-fied that bitch. You feel me? And then cut out a little bit of the center, and then pushed a little bit of like the sample rate and everything, degrading it, pretty much keeping the texture. Like the vocal is super clean and feeling mainstream. Now the ad-libs is feeling a little shitty. They feeling a little dirty. They feeling a little rough. They feel like they from around the block. They from the hood. You feel me? Type shit. So after that, we have I think this was like kind of like my reverb to go with the ad-libs. So let's check.
Tío, te presto mis cojones. Si los tuyos no te lo ponen, no gasto honrones, pero ustedes los bateo con cojones. En nombre de los muertos prendiendo unos blones. Llevamos tiempo en esto y ahora estamos como se supone. Muchos en la buena, pocos en la mala. Esperando que disparen.
Oh yeah, that's something crazy right there. So I did a reverse of like the last word right here, and then I kind of created like a tumbling reverse ad-lib effect where like I'm putting a delay on the reverse itself, like reverse pitch. You feel me? Like on a reverse type of thing. And then I use the filter freak, which I automated right here, the frequency cutoff. And then I used the RVox for the gate and the MV2 to squash that bitch, so it felt solid. So yeah, you know, it was just a situation where it's like a reverse filtered kind of like throw. You feel me? Delayed throw.
Yo en la buena, poco en la mala, esperando que disparen a ver si me dan la bala. Si te envidia pa' que te compa.
You feel me? I don't know what the fuck I was on when I was mixing this shit, but I was just feeling so creative. So after that, we have another type of ad lib right here. Just so many little ad libs, so many ear candies, especially because his vocal, like this song is mostly just his vocal and just like little candies here and there, little like, you feel me, little meteorites inside of the cavern and shit like that in the mountains, little peaks and valleys and rocks in the mountains, you feel me, and little trees and brushes and shit. So and then we have this ad lib right here. Right, and this is just like a basic lossy, really dry. Like, you know, I have wet ad libs right now, but now I wanted something dry.
Con cojones, en nombre de los muertos prendiendo unos blones. Llevamos tiempo en esto y a matar. De un montón más cerca de todos mis contrarios. Hicimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar.
So I did like another reverse right there too, as you guys kind of hear. It's like a reverse, because there's right here, and I wanted to create a little bit of variety in the ad libs. Then we have a where he sounded really aggressive. He sounded like he was having a heart attack or some shit. Like he was scared as fuck. You feel me? Like, or he was mad as hell. You feel me? So I wanted to express that emotionally through my plugins. You feel me? As an engineer, you gotta be the narrator to how the artist is feeling emotionally. So I use the devil lock to enhance that. You feel me? And then we use the RC20, and I only use like a little bit of distortion, even more distortion. You know, that's something I like to do. Blend analog with digital distortion. You feel me? And then use like a little bit of reverb coming out the RC20, you know, filtering that all off together and clamping it down with a little bit of that Faraday limiter.
Pobre pero no morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. No my watch, yeah. Después que tenga todo que rematch, me si no.
So, you know, it's kind of a situation where some ad libs are drier than the others and everything like that. Then, okay, let's look at our effects. The spring reverb, right? For the spring reverb, we had a lush vocal reverb, and that kind of brings us to the automation, right? On my automation lanes, you feel me? You know, I usually don't do a situation where I only keep the reverb level the whole thing for the song. I like to mix it in and out, you know, for the rapper's voice. For example, like we coming into the very first verse, right? And it's kind of like naked in that first verse, like the beat changes. So what I did is I increased the reverb. You feel me? I brought in this bigger reverb, so pay attention.
Tenemos un solo vestuario. Los filiates gramos, rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pecó pa' ella donde estamos. El diablo me entra solo por más que a Dios llamo. Nacimos a herir villanos, sin prenda brillamos. Está despillo que yo no disparo, pero.
So it's like now his flow is switching out. Boom, boom. Now it's dry. You feel me? But those very first words of the verse that's coming in, you hear like the reverb is big. You feel me? I automated the reverb right here. The reverb is big. And like it feels huge. And then boom, the little transition happening. Now it's a dry vocal. Now he's spitting. Now he done changed his flow up. Now the density feels a little different. You feel me? So that's just how I like to approach music. Like to do something like that, you need a musical ear, bro. Like you need a musical ear to know, like, oh shit, those 3 bars, we only put in a plate reverb. Okay, then we're gonna do a delay throw right here and all that. But that kind of brings me to the hook where I had like this little slap on the hook. You feel me? Like, I feel like that was the main highlight. So I wanted to put a Sharpie marker on side of that. You feel me? That specific tone where he's like, You feel me? And I ran it back for all the 3 hooks. So pay attention.
Pobre pero no morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. De un montón más cerca de todos mis contrarios. Pobre pero no morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. De un montón más cerca de todos mis contrarios. Hicimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero no morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos.
You feel me? And I did that through all out the whole hooks, like the second, third hook.
Hicimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero nos morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar.
Feel me? But guess what? Like you can't really hear it. Like the volume was low as fuck. You feel me? So it's like one of those subtle things to emotionally move and engage the listener in the song. You feel me? A little bit of that nice little automation. You feel me? So after that, we had like some delayed throws, especially like right here, bro. It came to a point where I wanted to make the ending of the second verse climactic, so I brought in a little bit of, I think I brought in a little bit of a half note.
No es copión, pero me trata del calle, si soy caro, imagínate cuando me he visto. Mi flow es otra vibra, no sé si me has visto. Me siento como un dios y no soy Cristo, las putas en gistro. Lo más cabrón que ojos humanos han visto. Nacimos pa' un dios y no soy Cristo. Pero me tratas del calle, si soy caro, imagínate cuando me he visto. Mi flow es otra vibra, no sé si me has visto. Me siento como un dios y no soy Cristo, las putas en gistro. Lo más cabrón que ojos humanos han visto. Nacimos pa' coronar, pobre pero me tratas del calle, si soy caro, imagínate cuando me he visto. Mi flow es otra vibra, no sé si me has visto. Me siento como un dios y no soy Cristo, las putas en gistro. Lo más cabrón que ojos humanos han visto. Nacimos pa' coronar, pobre pero nos morimos millonarios.
You feel me? So just filling in those little spaces, bruh. Just filling in them little spaces with that little delay, but you can hardly hear it. It's more like a feeling thing. It's more like how I said, it's like a highlighter that you're putting on certain emotional phrases, but you gotta know when to do it. That's not something that you just do. You feel me? If the music isn't talking to you to tell you to do some shit like that, never do some shit like that. You know, like literally never do it. You feel me? Like the music you have to feel it in your heart. Like, yo, I want to put like a little emphasis on that shit. And sometimes you want to make the delay throw loud. Other times you want to make it super quiet. You feel me? I feel like if I'm going to frequently do delay throws, then I'm going to make that be a quiet as motherfucker. You feel me? And at that point in time, we had like also too, you know, like how I was saying, like we had the hall coming up to make the second verse climactic going into the third hook. You feel me?
Del calle, si soy caro, imagínate cuando me he visto. Mi flow es otra vibra, no sé si me has visto. Me siento como un dios y no soy Cristo, las putas en gistro. Lo más cabrón que ojos humanos han visto. Nacimos pa' coronar.
That's when he starts rapping here, babyto. Oh, you still hear that reverb going on just a little bit. You feel me, bruh? You feel me? And we use like the sunset chamber for something like that, you know what I mean? And we Tory Lanez that bitch too, you feel me? We Tory Lanez that bitch. We put the Aphex Vintage Oral Exciter in it. That's why when the reverb stops, you still hear, you hear like the statically tinny type of trash can, soda can, Sprite can frequency.
Lo más cabrón que ojos humanos han visto.
All right, last thing, let me show you guys the mastering chain, the 2-bus. So his rough mix was clipped as fuck, bruh. But in the process of that rough mix being clipped, it had a certain type of energy and aggression that we needed to bring back. Because no matter what, even if it would have been the same loudness, like just the way his vocal was so clipped and the way it was pressing up against that limiter, bruh, like it had a certain tone that even I like that shit, bro. You feel me? So that's the thing about mixing, you feel me? You're always trying to preserve the emotional feeling that the person felt when they you know, sent you the mix. You just want to enhance it sonically, you feel me? Preserve it emotionally, enhance it sonically. The 2-bus, boom, we just using the Fairchild for some dirty gain, you feel me? Analog, and this kind of makes the mix brighter in general. You feel me? So
pobre pero nos morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Yo monté más cerca de todo mi
so we're using that for loudness, but on purpose, because you know when we push the output gain, we're getting tube saturation simultaneously. After that, we have the EQP1A, and that just helps boost the booty. Boost that booty. It just helps boost the booty of the whole record and just gives some body without touching a damn knob or anything like that. Just boost the bottom. That's because of the tube saturation, and also understand the frequency density that a tube gives us: low, mid, girth. You feel me? And a little bit of high-end shimmer.
Pobre pero nos morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Yo monté más cerca de todo mi contrario. Nacimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero nos morimos millonarios.
His rough mix was to where like you hear how that drum is vroom, it smashes down. Like the original beat don't even sound like that, bruh. The original beat don't even sound like that, bruh. Like no cap. So it was all about trying to get it to smash down a little bit. So I'm gonna show you guys how I achieved that. Then I used the Fresh Air or 0.1 right here. I like that because it brings like a little mid-range, you feel me, to the vocal.
Pobre pero nos morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Yo monté más cerca de todos mis contrarios, hicimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero no.
I don't know what it is, something about that fresh air, just putting that 0.1 there, bro. It just clears up the mid-range, it pushes up the mid-range just a little bit and does a dip somewhere, right? In all the right places, you feel me? So after that, we use a standard clip, and us using this clipper on purpose, bro. The tone of this clipper, pushing that soft saturation to 5, bro. We was getting some aggressive clipping because that's what his rough mix sounded like. It sounded like that. It was crushed with a limiter, you feel me? And it was just giving this certain type of distortion, this distortion that is giving an emotional imprint to the whole song. His rough mix, you feel me? So I recreated that bitch, you feel me? And yeah, it was just all about that kick was just vroom, smashing down like fucking whack-a-mole, boom. That's what I wanted the kick to sound like, and that's what this clipper gave me.
Pobre pero nos morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Yo monté más cerca de todos mis contrarios, hicimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero nos morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos reales, tenemos.
Yeah, so smashing it in the fucking digitally distorting, getting that clipper to generate some digital distortion. I mean, that's how we went about getting that sound, recreating it. And then after that, I used a Fab Filter, a Pro L2, and I purposely put it on aggressive mode. I was going back and forth between his rough at that point, just trying to match that distortion, and on purposely using distortion. Distortion can be a beautiful thing if you know how to use it. I love distortion. Yup, so that's pretty much the end of this long, grueling video. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. We got through this video. We broke down all the gems. The equipment was failing. The computer was failing, but we broke down all the gems. So I just want to say thanks a lot, my YouTube gang. Appreciate y'all now. Peace.